Here in just a minute. Now, Brittany, do we want to unfurl this amazing banner that's going to go to the Thunderbird hanger? Right there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the banner that you can sign right here. We want you to come up here to the table right beside the stage, and we want to get your signature. It will be hanging in the hanger at the Thunderbird hangar. They're missing you as much as we are missing them. Our national anthem. So keep your eyes up. We're going to spot them. If I spot them first, I'll 200 miles per hour. The skydivers have about 10 seconds of free fall before they open their chutes at 2,500 feet. And these modern-day parachutes are actually steerable ram air canopies designed to provide forward drive and lift. Much started air show as we honor our nation. Here in just a minute, you see some of the banners beginning to unfurl under our first two jumpers. The higher jumpers, number 3 and 4. You can see the Georgia flag coming out now at the number 3 jumper. We're going to continue to watch as they all make their way down. Now watch how they navigate those parachutes.
What so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Al Saylor with over 3,800 jumps. He actually lives on an airport and keeps his airplane in the backyard. Chris Winters from Jupiter, Florida is the newest member of the team. Watch this as well on the stand. How's it going up there? in history. As you see that beautiful aircraft now high and to the right as you face the runway, the gear is down. He's slowing the aircraft as he begins that right turn, headed for the finish of the downwind, and then he'll make a base leg and back to the runway. I want you to watch really closely as he does this final landing pattern and as he makes his way to the runway. This aircraft is an incredibly complex aircraft. It was an advanced trainer. You'll see some of the trainers that pilots flew in World War II before they got to this, but the advanced trainer was heavy, it was complex, and it produced not only the nickname the pilot maker, it produced the best fighter pilots in the world. Flaps down on the wing. Now he's going to hold the tail up as he gently lets the airspeed bleed off and let that tail settle down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, he can't see anything straight ahead. He's going to have to turn just a little bit to either side to make sure he doesn't run into anything, which is a common trait of any tail dragger aircraft. But look at that. He has gotten the aircraft slowed. He's got the flaps down. He's turning on the taxiway. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Dr. Stan Music and Catch 22.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Remax Parachute Team today.
Well, it's fabulous. We have a little bit of a breeze out here today, and it was a little bit of a challenge for us, but we were glad to be able to bring in the American flag for the national anthem. And I'll tell you this, from about a mile high, about 4,000 feet above the ground, we were looking down and we could see the tops of your heads, and you all look really good.
Woo, that's what we like. Now, you came up here with all your gear on. Can you walk us through just some of the components of your equipment?
Right. The first thing I'll show you is our main parachute right here. It's logoed with the Remax logo on it. It's red, white, and blue, of course, very patriotic. And on top of it, it usually goes in this bag right here, this black bag right here. And when we go to deploy it, we actually have a thing called a pilot chute. It's like an umbrella. It turns over in the air and pulls out the pin, pulls out the main parachute. You go into line stretch, and then the parachute opens the rest of the way. This is what the backside of it looks like. Every skydiver has two parachutes on. One you see here is a main. The other one you don't see. It's tucked in here. It's number 2. Should we have a problem with the first parachute, we pull a little red handle that releases the main parachute from us, and then we go to a silver handle that opens the backpack for the reserve, so that you have 2 chances whenever you get out of a perfectly good airplane.
And I've had the opportunity to do some tandem skydiving, which is a great introductory way of doing it. And I think they called it like the hacky sack.
Right.
That's the little ball you're looking for here, and you throw it out.
That's exactly right. There's a little handle on top of this pilot chute, and you throw that handle out there. There's the hacky right there. You throw that out into the breeze, and it flips over. Now, the other thing we have, people ask all the time, is how do you know when to deploy the chutes? And the way you know is you wear an altimeter. So on my wrist is an altimeter that tells me how high I am off the ground. And then on my other wrist, I have a backup altimeter. And do I look at them both? Yeah, you bet I do. When we get out at 4,000 feet, we're falling at about 200 miles an hour. And if we put our heads down, we can go much faster. And we'll come down to about 2,500 feet and deploy our parachutes. It takes about 200 feet for them to open. And then we reach up and grab a thing called brake lines. Now, the brake lines are connected to the back of the main canopy. And when you pull on one of them, it changes the shape of the canopy and helps you turn to the right or to the left. And then when you come in to land, just like an airplane, you pull down on both of them and you flare. And the idea is all that forward momentum is like a wing, and you change that forward momentum into lift. And hopefully you have tiptoe touchdowns at show center like today.
Now, we were talking about it as you guys were coming down, and when you're under free fall, you can actually maneuver your body. I did it once on a board on wheels. Can you tell us how you position to go forward, back, and how you actually use your hands and arms to steer?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you're in the swimming pool and you pull in the water, you feel the resistance. Well, that's, of course, you're not moving very fast, maybe a knot or two. In free fall at 120 miles an hour, when you put your hand out, you feel the same resistance that you would if you're driving in a convertible. You put the window down and you put your hand out and it pushes back on you. So if I'm in free fall, I go into what's called the boxman position. Let's see a boxman position, Jeff. So this is Jeff Smith. He's been skydiving since 1977. So the boxman is a square position like this, and it gets him in free fall in a balanced position with his belly to earth, kind of like a maple leaf coming straight down. Now, if he used to push his arms straight out above his head, he would be going backwards. He would push it on the front of him, his body would change in an angle and slide back. If he pulled his arms in and he stuck his legs straight out, he would go forward in the air. If he sticks the left arm and the left leg out, he'll roll over onto his back. And same way, and you can adjust to slide across the sky. When we're doing formation work, we'll actually fly up to each other and we'll get this far apart from each other in free fall at 120 miles an hour and be able to hold on to these grippers to build formations. So what's really an interesting point is that a distance or a speed of 1 mile an hour in the fall rate makes a difference in separation between jumpers of about 4 feet per second. So if Jeff and I are in free fall together and we're at the same shape, and I change my shape and have less surface area, I'll drop below them. And if I reach up to grab them, I'll back up. So you have to learn how to move your body to get you to fly exactly where you want to go. The only thing you can't do is go back up in the air. You're coming down at 120 miles an hour.
Now, Al, I appreciate all of this information. What got you inspired to skydive and take that leap the very first time?
Well, you know, aviation is a fabulous thing that is fun to do. It's fun to fly across the sky. I was playing golf with some guys all the time and looking up at airplanes saying, I'd rather not be down here playing golf. I'd rather be up there in the air going someplace and doing something. And after a while, I decided besides being a pilot, I need to make one jump. Well, that's all it took. After that one jump, I wanted to touch another person in free fall. I wanted to touch 2 people, 4 people, do a 100-way free fall. Finally, I had to figure out a way to pay for all that, so I created the RE/MAX skydiving team, and we're here with you today.
Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, the RE/MAX parachute team. Team, I'm going to have you come up here. We can do a group photo, and you can introduce the team.
Yep, Jeff Smith, Mike Nugent with the American flag, and Chris Winters from Florida. So we're here to be with you, and we'd love to come down there. We'll do some pictures with you along this gate in just a second. So thank you very much for having us, Atlanta. We're glad to be in Peachtree City.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, another round of applause as they opened up our show. We appreciate all the information. Al, thank you so much.
It looks like the Cobra is taking fire from the down pilot location. Notice how quickly the Cobra will get into position to return fire upon the enemy. As soon as the Huey quick reaction force touches down, the QRF team went out, secure the LV, and try and retrieve the down pilots. Fat Bird, which today was flown by U.S. Army retired CW-5 Tom McNamara and U.S. Navy retired Lieutenant Commander John McLaughlin. The QRF bird today was flown by CW-4 retired Scott Emerson, U.S. Army CW-4 retired Andrew Shinka, U.S. Army Chief Pilot. And the Cobra today was flown by
Today's flight leads are day 12.
With estimated 2,000 hours of blood sport. Right here. Now some of these aircraft, you'll want to have your camera ready for the finale as the team taxis in front of us shortly. Their landing roll, they will gather up on the taxiway far. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? You got your cameras out. Here we go. Well, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? Here from the right, keep your camera rolling. From your right to your left, this is the Charlie flight. This is the full throttle formation team. Well, come on, Atlanta, what do you think about your hometown team? If you're interested in learning more about the Full Throttle Formation team, make sure to check out their website at fullthrottleairshows.com or by checking them out on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you to everyone for having us here.
Because, as the classic line from World War II was, son, if you can fly this, you can fly anything, almost everybody went through the T6, and so it's difficult enough. In fact, we always say, you know, about the time you think you know this thing, Master D will reach up, slap you upside the head, and let you know that you ain't got it yet. And after 30 years and several thousand hours in it, it's still slapping me from time to time. So it's a privilege because it is history, it is significant, and it is challenging.
Now, how did you get started in aviation? Before I ask how many of you are at an air show for the very first time?
Hey,
there we go.
Great.
Look
I
at
see
that.
a crowd down here. We're glad to have you guys. Thank you for coming.
We love this. Now, Stan, what got you started into flying, and what other aircraft have you flown?
Well, I grew up out in the sticks in West Texas. Airplanes are something that were distant, far away, and never saw them. And my father was a preacher at a small country church, and one of our members had an airplane. He came over and said, "Brother Music, will you let me take Stan with me on the trip?" My dad, who was always looking for a reason to get rid of one of us, said, "Sure, take him." So I went. I was hooked. I was 12 years old. The next time I was in an airplane, I was taking lessons. I saved every nickel I had. I paid for all my own lessons. And when I was 17, I got my license, bought my first airplane, and graduated high school.
Now, one of the things I loved is we kicked off the show and you were the first one in that throatiness, that large radial engine. Tell us about the noise on the T6.
Well, of course it has 1,340 cubic inches. All of these aircraft engines are measured in cubic displacement. So it's an R, or radial, 1,340 cubic inches, and it has 600 horsepower. But it doesn't have enough. And it's noisy and it's loud, and of course you said it's throaty. It's a wonderful sound. You either love it or you hate it. I hadn't met anybody who would hate it for very long. Most of the time it's really a lot of fun.
Tell us why it's so meaningful for you to have Catch 22 right here in Atlanta.
Well, Catch 22 was, of course, it refers back to the movie, Heller's movie Catch 22, which was a parody and tongue-in-cheek. But I bought that airplane. It was one of the first T6s I ever got a ride in. One of my friends had raced it at Reno, and there were two guys who were partners. And I said, "Guys, if y'all ever want to sell it, let me know." Well, a few years later, they called me up and they told me what they wanted for it, and I went, I had chest pain. And I said, "You want it or you don't?" So I bought it, and I've had it for now 30 years. It's a wonderful airplane. So it's significant to me for the civilian history, but the military history as well.
Now, you do more than just flying in air shows. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Ooh, that gets a little spooky, doesn't it?
PG, Sam, PG.
Say again, please?
PG, keep it PG.
Oh, PG, that means I gotta say it's family friendly. I started out, the guy that taught me to fly was a crop duster. So I went to crop dusting as a teenager. I was a crop duster. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know that normal people could get into an Air Force or could do airlines or anything. I thought you had to be super duper, and my father had informed me, you ain't super duper, boy. And so I was a flight instructor and giving lessons, and I went flying with a doctor. And I came home and I said, if that guy can have enough money to own an airplane, no smarter than he was, I'm smart as he is, I'll go to medical school. So I went back and took courses in college, applied to medical school, got medical school, and basically carried 2 careers simultaneously, medicine and flying.
I think that's really important, talking about education, military service, being able to do it all. Like you said, tell us, for those that are here for the first time, what's a piece of advice that you have for our entire audience here?
Show up on time and sober.
I love that. Now, Stan, thank you so much for taking the time. You're going to be flying again tomorrow in the T6. I can't wait to not only see you, but hear you coming in.
I'll be delighted to do it again. Scooter Yet's fixing to go up in the Monkey B-51 Mustang. That's one of my favorite airplanes. And I'm going to let Rob tell you about it, although I would be delighted to.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Stan Music, give him a round of applause. And Rob, back to you.
United States fighter planes carry. It carries the post-war version because Quicksilver was never a part of a unit till after World War II. All of the bare metal of this P-51 is polished. Look closely into the metal. You can see for whom our veterans fought. Yes, that's you. Bill Yoke, an individual with a love and passion for this type of aircraft, did all the metal work, and remanufactured parts are handmade. Unlike the hurried war efforts, these are made with skill and care of a master craftsman and obtain the utmost attention to detail necessary to restore this Mustang to a condition better than factory new in 1945. As this silver bird quickly streaks across the sky, let us not forget those who served, sacrificed, and gave their all for our country.
See the supercharger underneath right there? There it is. Whoa, okay. Wow, he is low. Golly.
This tail dragging aircraft. I want you to watch that big propeller out front. As the aircraft settles down on the main gear, watch here as he continues to fly the airplane, tail up in the air, working the rudder back and forth as he steers and as that beautiful, powerful B-51 begins to slow down. Watch the tail
see that
wheel
big box
just settle down to the scooter brings the aircraft back under control.
My name is Doug Hallberg, call sign Hollywood. I bring up the rear end at Charlie 4 and make sure these guys stay in check in the whole formation.
I'm Justin Valenzuela, call sign Bongo, and I'm right in the middle. Charlie play, Charlie 2.
Now, gentlemen, tell us a little bit about what it's like. You have 12 aircraft up there, and you're maneuvering between different formations. How do you get to that precision?
It takes a lot of practice. Most of our pilots have former military experience, which means they probably flew a lot of formation. But we do have several civilian pilots, which we've helped train and bring up to standard. There's an international organization called Formation Flying Incorporated, who has a whole training program. So it's actually quite fun to fly formation. It's fun to be a pilot, but it's even more fun to fly formation.
Now, I had the privilege of being with you in Wisconsin. You travel across the country with this. How do you manage doing that with a team and a full-time job for most of you?
We got lucky. We heard the cheese curds were really good up there, so we all dropped trips and lost pay to go do that.
Now, in all seriousness, can you tell us a little bit more about the aircraft? Because it is something different and unique, but it's something that we are able to fly and learn how to fly. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, that's a lot because all the airplanes are different. A lot of our guys have built the airplanes by themselves. Some of us have just bought them outright to get it quicker. It takes about 3 to 5 years. Yeah, myself included. I just wrote the check. But Torquay, he's your number 3 now. You're working on him, so he doesn't have a life.
Now, with 12 people in the air and as you maneuver, walk us through the communication. How do you go through and talk to one another? Because you can't all talk at the same time. So what does that sound like?
It is surprisingly quiet. There's nothing. We have one guy that talks, and that's Torque. He tells us where to go and what to do, and unless there's a safety issue, it is quiet.
Torque, can you actually give us a little bit about, as you're maneuvering, let's say you're going into the Stingray, what are the calls that you do for your team?
Sure. Everybody knows all the different formations. We call it a dance card, so it's got 6 different formations. We always run them in the same sequence. Before we fly, we do what we call a walkthrough, so we're just standing on the ground and we're walking around like we're flying, and I'll tell them what the next formation is going to be, and then I'll clear them to the current formation. So, for instance, to go to Stingray, we're already in diamond formation. So I'll say full throttle, go Stingray. I expect to hear Fume say Charlie's clear because he's the back part of the formation. That clears Bravo Flight to maneuver into position, and as soon as Fume sees that they're in position, he'll bring up the Stingray.
Now, I saw the smoke going on and off. Do you just know it? Is it automatic? How does that happen?
That's a call by me. So as we're rolling in, I try to time the smoke to give the best pictures for the crowd. We don't have enough smoke to keep it on for the whole show, and obviously we want to save some for the burnout, so we only use it on the roll-in until we leave the pad.
One of the things I'm curious about is how do you debrief as you go through? Because formation flying, it's about precision. It's about building that trust. Walk us through how you work together as a team.
The debrief is one of the most important parts of every flight. And if you saw us after we landed, we all waited for everybody to get out of their airplane, and we got a huddle. And the first thing we asked for is, are any safety of flight issues? Because I can't see everything all the time. And if there is a safety of flight issue, we want to know about that right away, and we'll correct it. Once we've got that out of the way, then we'll go into our formal debrief later today, and we'll nitpick each part of the flight. And if you learn by making mistakes, in my opinion. I've learned much more from screwing things up than I ever did by doing things accidentally right. So every debrief is a learning opportunity.
I love that. I have one final question for all of you, and I just want to know, are you willing to head down, answer questions, meet with everyone? So if you're interested in meeting part of the Full Throttle team, make your way up to the stage. We can do that. But they are wandering around. Oh, look at that. You didn't want to come on stage with us? No. So they're out there. Please talk to them, get your photos. But what keeps you going and being on this team and flying at air shows? What's that piece of inspiration for you?
I'm one of the civilians on the team. I didn't have prior military experience in doing any of this, and what keeps me going is these guys have become quite a family. I'm learning a lot about how mission planning, how we deploy to these air shows, how we interact with the crowd. We also get the inspiration aspect of where, I see one of our stickers running around on a toddler right there, It's that environment, the air show environment, the air show family, the fun that we have together as a crew. It's just a lot of fun.
How about for the rest of you? What keeps you going? What's your inspiration?
It's a camaraderie between the guys. It's amazing how you just get. We fly our regular schedules at different airlines, and we come together, and it's just like family. So that's the fun part of it. The flying obviously is a lot of fun, but it's hanging out with the guys, which is really, really a fun thing to do. So.
I can't add anything to what these guys have already said. It's just a really great group of guys, and females are welcome if they want to join us, but we just have a lot of fun flying together. It's very challenging and very rewarding. And I'll close with the mission statement for the Full Throttle Formation team is to educate, entertain, and inspire. So we've got a STEM program where we work with youth at each air show venue, try to get them interested in aviation, and hopefully we entertained all of you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in giving Full Throttle a huge round of applause. They're going to...
And as R251 rolls out tonight, I want to throw out a huge shout out to a friend that I met last night. He came all the way from Minnesota with his family to celebrate his 85th birthday. Mr. Dick Satars is in the audience, call sign Phantom. Phantom is here in the audience. He flew T-38s in the United States Air Force. He is a United States Air Force veteran. Him and his family came all the way from Minnesota to be with us here today. Mr. Satars, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. Let's all give him a huge